We've made a bill of materials. Let's talk about customizing some of the settings on it. Here we go. This is our drawing from, say, the previous video, and I've inserted a back view of the chair in isometric where you can see the parts that go into it pretty well. Let's say that we want to make a drawing that interacts well with our bill of materials, and also let's adjust our bill of materials so that it becomes a little bit more friendly to view and work with. First, I'd like to double-click on my bill of materials. And let's say that we want to take out or resize a few columns. I can, just like in, say, an application like Microsoft Excel, drag and resize the column width. So that it just hugs item number and quantity. Likewise, I can double click up here if I want to optimize the width. And here with revision and comment. These are currently blank. Perhaps I'll make a bill of material that has these columns removed. And then from here, you can see that these have quite long names. So let's talk about how to deal with longer names. First, I can double click in this cell, highlight the part of the name that I think is too long, and hit the delete key so we're left with only the part number. Likewise, perhaps our part name will just be socket head screw. So that's one way that we can edit some of these properties. So if I exit out of my bill of materials, right, by clicking this little X, you can see that our bill of materials has been updated with the removed columns, the new sized rows, and the new properties for this part. Let's talk about the long names here. Perhaps I'd like to do the same thing. Well, let's do it in a different way. I'll go to my 3D model simply by selecting Edit 3D Model. And there's my 3D assembly. From here, I can edit this in a separate window. And there's my screw. I'll go to File, and I can see that on this File menu, I have several properties, right? I can say that this is a screw from a supplier, or you might call it a bolt. You can also change the part number. From here, we can edit the properties directly by changing the part number, and we can even make a version comment. There are other metadata properties that we can have, as well as something like created by. We can add some keywords, and so on. So we can add whatever metadata that we'd like from any of these core properties that come with Alibre. But we also can create custom properties. I have a few examples like the machining center, machining cost, machining time, and I can click down here to manage my properties as well. So I can add a custom property, again, something like the machinist, and we can choose a property type, which would work as a date, an integer, a very precise number, or text. And of course, this will be text. And I'll click on Add Property. And there I have a machinist. And we'll say that Kenny machined it. From here, I can head back to my part and close. Close again. Now with our save changes, we might want to use our drawing to capture some of the changes that we've made. So we'll go to Drawing Management and Reproject Views. And there we can see that our part number is now edited. So we can edit the properties that show up on the bill of materials from the part directly, or we can just edit the bill of materials by adjusting these lengths. Now with shorter columns, I can double click here and double click here for the smallest possible bill of materials. I also have the opportunity to right click and add a column. And from here, I can choose any of my properties. So I can select Machinist, and we'll go ahead and add the property to that column. We'll say OK to that. And there's our machinist, and there's Kenny the machinist that made our hex head screw for us. So in this way, we can edit and add just about anything to our bill of materials that we would think of as important. I don't actually need to list who machined what, or who is going to machine what on my drawing, so I'll go ahead and select my column and say delete. So with that being done, I'll go ahead and exit out of this, and I have a much better fitting bill of materials on my drawing. And that's how we make a bill of materials, and there's even more options to come. See you in the next video.